The growing concern over bath salts in the community has inspired local schools to take action. Teachers, principals, and administrators have been training to become a front line of defense against the drug. They spent the summer learning as much as they could about it. But as Caroline Connolly shows us, the challenge will be getting students to listen.
Rules on the playground are changing.
There's posters everywhere, and the RAs brought it up at our meeting when we moved in.
Thanks to the uneven playing field educators now face on city streets.
I've actually heard some really scary things, like it can cause week-long psychosis.
At local colleges, counselors have had to create a new lesson plan.
Just like everyone else, my first question was, how is it related to bath salts?
In hopes of preventing Bangor's bath salts epidemic from spreading to campuses.
So at first, we went down the road of educating ourselves, making sure that people knew about the drug.
At the University of Maine, they've attacked with awareness.
We were really able to train our staff, our student leaders, pretty much everyone that on campus.
At Husson University, they've prepared for anything.
We're really hoping for the best, but planning for the worst.
Both are advertising the dangers around school in an effort to make students think twice before ever trying it.
It's incredibly dangerous, highly addictive, and it doesn't just present a risk to the user, but it also presents a great risk to the people around them.
And while the Center for Disease Control says the average user is 35 years old, Bangor's school department isn't sparing any precaution either.
Today is one of the three series training for administrators on bath salts.
Bangor Superintendent Betsy Webb has teamed up with local police to squash the problem before it comes knocking on a classroom door.
What we have to do is try to get educated and informed and spread the word that this isn't something you want to be a part of.
The startling facts about the drug have written a new chapter in this semester's substance abuse courses.
Those teachers that have the responsibility of chemical health lessons created lessons to share with students about the dangers of bath salts.
But while the red flags have been waving since the first day of school, the concern hasn't resonated with everyone yet. What do you know about them?
Not a whole lot, except the fact that they're not actually like what you would buy at Bed Bath & Beyond or Bath & Body Works.
In this case, perhaps ignorance really is bliss.
I haven't really heard anything on campus about it. Everybody just kind of jokes about it.
Or maybe it's a warning to staff that there's still work to be done. Caroline Conley, WABI TV5 News, Bangor.
Definitely the worry that this is going to get onto campuses, that youth are going to be using this. We heard them say, you know, we don't know that much about it. We know it's not what you get at Bed Bath & Beyond. And you say, that's a good thing. That's a step in the right direction, that they know it's not that drug. But what other work needs to be done?
There is a lot of work that needs to be done. First of all, we need to make sure that we continue to put this word out there. We need to be sure that we continue to educate our citizens and that they continue to educate their children. We also need to make sure that, that laws are appropriate. And one of the problems with these types of drugs is that when these drugs are banned, there's another one waiting to come forward, because that's why they call them designer drugs. They're just slightly altered from what another drug is. So they'll alter it, bring that on the market. When that's banned, another one is waiting. So unless we find a way to expedite the procedure to get these drugs banned, we're going to constantly be in this particular type of situation. And we need to let people know that they need to talk to the legislators. They need to continue to educate themselves. They need to make themselves aware of what's going on with these types of drugs. And they also need to be aware of their surroundings and what's going on to protect themselves.
Have we seen many young people on this? Do we know?
We haven't experienced it. I think that in this area, it looks like the range is 25 to 35, and maybe up a little bit 40s, as a gentleman that I spoke to today. But I have not personally at our agency.
Well, I think the challenge is the fact that this drug snuck up on us pretty quickly over the spring and the summer. Now, by the time it really took off, it was probably in the summertime when kids are off, school's out. So now, this is the point where we now have to be vigilant, because school just started a few weeks ago. You know, college campuses, you know, high school, elementary school, everybody's back in, you know, business. So it'll be critical for us to really work with the school system to really monitor the students and see how they are going to be exposed to this, if at all, over the next few weeks to months. I'm hoping that we don't see that. I mean, but you know, we got to be prepared for that.
We there is not another illicit drug out there in this state that I'm aware of that did not originate its usage in the adult population and then migrate to our youth. That's a very, very big concern of mine, because there is no reason to think that this drug or anyone following it will not take the same path. And that's very concerning for me and for these folks here and for everybody in law enforcement and the medical profession. And we've just begun to see this downward migration into the lower levels of the lower age groups. We just, earlier this week, saw our first 2 incidents of 19 and 20-year-olds being involved in it. Now, I understand the hospitals have seen some of that, but these are the ones where we come into contact with them because it's the ones who are having adverse reactions to it and where the police have to be called. But we've seen our first 2 in that lower age group, and that's concerning because it means we're starting to migrate into those lower age groups, and we all know where it's going to go from there.
Is it troublesome too? I mean, I've heard you can get this for 25 bucks. So for a young crowd, it's a cheap drug. Does that add to the problem?
I think that's clearly part of the problem. This is so available. Even being taken off the market, it's still available, and it's incredibly cheap.
And the thing is, it's widely available on the internet. I mean, kids and young folks are the most tech-savvy if they really determine to try this out, there's the opportunity for them to do so. So that's why I think really aggressive education is going to be needed to help them to really know what to do with this.
And for college campuses, a lot of college-aged people think they're invincible. They might see these stories and think, well, that won't happen to me. Or if there's another substance in you, maybe be more willing to try something like that. What's the message? How can we get through to them? Just don't do it. I know it seems simple to just say just don't do it. If it were that simple, we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
I think the scary and tragic results that we've already seen, the crimes that have been committed, the medical situations and psychiatric situations that people who are using bath salts have put themselves in, it should be a deterrent enough, you would think, to keep people from doing it. And that's why I think what we're trying to do here together as a group, as a community, to continue to put this out there and show people that the dangerous consequences of trying such a substance.
I think the other thing too we need to do is help give these student bodies a tool to take the message beyond what we discussed here, because we could sit here all day long and talk about this, and people are going to say, well, 3 guys talking about this, and we're going to listen to them. But if we give them the tools, empower the students to really, this is your community, this is your problem too. You have to take control of this. Then they take ownership of it, and that may actually do something, hopefully.
And parents and teachers too. Parents and teachers need to be talking to them.
Now is the time. Now is the time to be proactive at this. We were hit with it very quickly, and we have an uphill battle, but now is the time before it gets worse. Parents and teachers do need to be talking about it. I tell parents all the time, if you have not talked to your children yet about using drugs in general, and in this case particularly bath salts, now is the time to be talking with them. Don't wait, because this is spreading, and there are those possibilities. We can stick our heads in the sand and say, my child is never going to use these drugs. I could venture a guess that most parents who have had children who have been involved in drugs have said that in the past. So nobody is really immune to it. You're absolutely right. Superman syndrome. When we were young, we all had it too. We're bulletproof. Nothing can get us, and I can stop anytime I want to. That is not the case with this drug or these other addictive drugs. These are very powerful, powerful stimulants.
And we could tell by the people who are marketing is with the catchy little names.
Yep.
Kryptonite.
Kryptonite, Ivory Wave, things like that might possibly have younger crowds tapping into them just because of how they're being marketed. Bath salts.
Even monkey dust.
Monkey dust.
Might want to try it. Thank you. When we come back, we're going to hear from Governor LePage and what he wants to do to combat this problem. We'll be right back. Thanks for joining us.